So good evening, everyone, and thank you for attending this evening's Point of the Plate session, our second Point of the Plate session here for the 2023 season, which is our Level 1 and 2 Umpire Clinic Info Night. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Jeff Chipley, and I am the Communications Portfolio Lead with the Baseball Alberta Umpires Committee. And joining me this evening is Level 5 National Umpire and our Level 1, 2, and 3 Clinic Portfolio Lead, Chris Hartley. Chris, thanks for spending some time this evening to let people know what to experience with our Level 1 and 2 clinics this year.
No problem, Jeff. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So the first thing that we have before Chris will give a breakdown in terms of what people can expect at our Level 1 and 2 clinics this year is we just have a quick poll to find out the attendees of our session today. So the question that we have is, what level of umpire are you? Alrighty, so we have had everyone that is in our session today take the poll. And so we have a bit of a mixture. We have one individual, they've never umpired before, so welcome. Hopefully we can have you out at a clinic this year. We have a couple of people that have been a Level 1 umpire, one person that's been a Level 3 umpire, and one person that's been a Level 5 umpire. I'm assuming that's you, Chris.
No, I think it's actually Matt Payne.
Yeah, it might be Matt Payne. But with that, so in terms of our clinic stuff, Chris, I know you've done up a quick little presentation to go through some of the things in terms of our Level 1 and 2 clinics to give people a basic overview as to what they could expect.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Jeff. Again, I don't think this session will go too long. We'll have some question opportunities at the end. Again, as I go through this PowerPoint in this short little presentation, if you have any questions that pop up in your head, you can throw it in the chat box. Jeff will be moderating that, and we'll get to answering those at the end of the session here. Again, welcome to everyone. Thanks for joining us on your evening, the Monday night here for the second session on the Point of the Plate webinar series. I know there's a few more scheduled to come out by the Umpires Committee, and looking forward to attending some of those myself. Yeah, so as Jeff said, my job with the Provincial Umpire Committee is the Level 1, 2, and 3 clinics. So we look after the curriculum. We look after obviously organizing instructors for all these clinics. Just so everyone's aware, we have approximately 44 confirmed clinics so far in Alberta for this season, and there's a handful that are trying to get pre-approved with dates and stuff like that. So I think by the end of the summer, or by the end of April, prior to the season starting, we're going to be somewhere around that 50 mark, which is kind of our record high. I think Brandon talked about that a couple weeks back on the last Point of the Plate about pre-COVID, we were around that 50, 52, and then we never got to run any of them because of COVID hitting right before we were about to roll them out. Now, out of those 50 or so, we have already completed 6 of them, and there are 3 that we had to cancel, unfortunately, last weekend due to a lack of registration numbers. So hopefully we won't have to cancel too many more of the ones that are out there, and with people joining it. So for those that are in attendance or those that are watching this after the fact, make sure we get out and register for clinics sooner than later. Typically, we make that decision about the Tuesday or Wednesday prior to the upcoming weekend clinics, whether something's going to go or not. And I know as part of this presentation, Jeff and that will be able to show you kind of how to find the clinics and dates and how to register and stuff like that. So let's get started. First off, going to do a little bit of an overview. So Level 1 program for Baseball Alberta. So Level 1 and 2 are actually run by the province. Level 3 is a combination of the province and the national program. So Level 1 and 2 is strictly created by each individual province. It's different from province to province, what they want to cover, what they want to do. And previously, historically, we've always kind of did a 2-year program where we had offense 1 year and defense the next. But with the COVID hitting us a couple years back, we had to pivot and come up with kind of the basics of umpiring as we went to a virtual format. So it is a 2-year program preferred. However, we have decided this year that if you've worked 1 year of umpiring and you worked at least 10 games in the Arbiter system, which is the Baseball Alberta assigning software, you could potentially do your level 2 after that first year. So again, typically Baseball Alberta starting this season, Baseball Alberta is assigning 13U AAA and above. So again, if you're, a 16-year-old level 1 coming into umpiring, or an adult or something like that, after that first year, assuming that you've got at least 10 games worked, 10 games of experience, Baseball Alberta umpires are okay with you doing a level 2 in your second year. Obviously, if you're a 12-year-old first-year umpire, you're not going to be umpiring 13-year-olds. You're going to be doing the U9 and U11 kind of levels. And those are usually assigned by local communities or local associations type thing. And so therefore, it doesn't really work for the 1 year and 10 game caveat to the expected duration of the level 1. So in the level 1, we really focus on sort of the basics of umpiring, introduction to umpiring, basic rules, some positioning, uniform, basic mechanics. We give you a handout on 60-foot baseball. So that's the U9, U11 type baseball, because the positioning for those levels are different than 13U and higher baseball, which is 70 foot to 90 foot. We do cover those stuff as well, because we will have people. I taught a clinic in Calgary a couple weeks back, March 4th, and we had anywhere from 12-year-olds up to like 70-year-olds taking the clinic. So again, we have to adhere our programming to all ages. So we have that stuff, but we do give out a handout that has the 60-foot base path information, as well as the 2 umpire system. So positioning and mechanics manual kind of thing that we've created, a bit of a photocopying thing, so some paper. And then we also have this nice little wonderful workbook that we go throughout the clinic, some fill in the blanks, some stuff like that, some diagrams, pictures, etc. That's been created by our umpire committee. And that will help. Again, that's something that you can take home as a resource to look on afterwards, so that if you happen to be unsure about something, you'll be able to do that. So that sort of is the program focus for level 1. It is and I'll get to this slide in a couple minutes here. It's a combination though of theory, classroom, fill in the blank, write some stuff down, as well as on field or in the gym setting with some actual doing of umpiring. So we talked a little bit about, like I said, plate mechanics, calling balls and strikes, the strike zone, etc. Stuff that will, again, get you out on the diamond, starting your umpiring career as part of this great group of individuals that we are all part of. So that's sort of the level 1 program focus. After those 2 years, or after that 1 year with experience, you can move into the level 2 program. Okay, this year, so just so you're all aware, the level 2 program is a 3-year program. And this year, the focus is on the defense. So the 3 areas are defense, offense, and game management. And I think it's the next slide. We'll talk about that a little bit, and show you the schedule of that. But this year with the defense, level 2, which is a separate clinic from the level 1. So we don't have level 1, 2 combined or anything like that. It's a separate clinic. Some associations this year are hosting a level 1 and a level 2 on the same day, but they're in separate rooms, like 2 separate clinics being run on the same date. And that's okay for those that are maybe involved with their local associations and want to do that, because we can have 2 different meeting rooms in a gym. We can again flip-flop between the use of the gym as instructors, so that we can do both clinics on the same day. because of rental availability for facilities and stuff like that. That's totally fine by us. We'll make the best of it and make it work. Level 2 program, like I said, is this year is the defense, is the rules that we're focusing on. So it's 13U AAA and above. These are some of the topics that we are covering this year. So we'll talk about the pitcher, a box, legal or illegal actions by the pitcher. We'll talk about obstruction, advanced fly ball coverage, some of the movements and some of that. That's part of the mechanics side of things that come in there. Catcher's interference, appeal plays, trips to the mound. So a little bit more advanced material compared to the level 1. We don't get into box and that too much in level 1 because at U9 and U11 they can't balk. Again, there's no real detailed information about that. We briefly touch on it, just say what the pitcher can do. There's 3 things that they can do when they step on the rubber. They can either step off, they can pitch, or they can step and throw to a base, right? Like that's really what a pitcher can do. But we get into a little bit more detail in the level 2. So again, this year's focus is the defense. Next year, the focus is on game management. And then the year after that is offense. So 2024, we'll focus on game management, and then we'll focus on the offense in 2025. Okay, so what does a clinic format look like? Okay, both clinics, whether it be the level 1 or the level 2, we schedule them 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay, that's typically our thing. It's 6 hours of instruction, an hour lunch break in there. That also includes a little bit of like those bio breaks, the 5-minute stretch your legs, use the washroom, that type of stuff partway through. You do need to be there for the entire time to be certified. So one of the questions we hear all the time is, oh, I have a baseball practice at 3 o'clock and I leave at 2, or, oh, I have a hockey game. I need to leave. It's that. Unfortunately, again, you are signing up for a 9 to 4 setup. So it's not as early as some things, like I know Hockey Canada and stuff that usually start around 8:30 and run to like 4:30. Again, we let you sleep in a little bit on those weekends typically, and go about that. We have done some weeknight clinics where they break it up over a couple of days, and again, that's an option potentially for some of our larger centers, potentially, if they want to do something like that, where they want to split it up over the 2 days, 6 to 9 kind of thing. Again, we at the office, at the Baseball Alberta office, and myself as the coordinator, we'll make it work. We'll try to figure out ways that we can have clinics if that's what works best for you and your organization. It's, like I said, a combination of the classroom and gym learning. Not only are you learning it via theory and seeing of like a PowerPoint presentation, but you're also doing some of the stuff, putting it in practice, what you learned maybe in the classroom prior, just to further reemphasize and help you with your learning and the learning curve that happens. And then the very last point there, as a coordinator here, I'm trying to schedule 1 instructor for every 15 to 20 students. Ideally 1 to 15 is the max, but again, it's got based on availability, based on obviously the feasibility, the financial side of things. We have clinicians that travel across this province because obviously we don't have instructors in all areas of the province. So we might have like, Jeff, who's out of Wetaskiwin, traveling to Lloydminster, or, myself out of Calgary going to Rocky Mountain House or whatever it might be. So there's a bit of travel going in there involved. So to fill these clinics. So we as a committee try to do 1 for every 15, maybe 1 for every 20 if we want to get a few extra bodies, certified and stuff like that in there. Ideally, if it gets over 20, we're going to be trying to assign 2 instructors. Again, it's better to have 1 for every 10 than 1 for 20 kind of thing, if we can do it. So that's sort of the format. Like I said, there'll be drills, there'll be like a bit of a PowerPoint presentation to go along with the stuff. So you should try to bring something to write with, something to write on for note taking. Even though like level 1, we do provide you with a workbook, but level 2 clinics, we don't as much. So we want you to kind of, again, get what you get out of it, right? What you put into it is what you get out of it. So it's not just you sitting there listening to talking heads all day long. We're going to get you engaged. We're going to, ask questions of you, maybe have you talk to the people beside you about topics, whatever it might be, that type of stuff. Okay. Once the clinic's done, other questions that we usually get is that what happens next? So once you're done your clinic, you've done your 6 hours of instruction, your 9 to 4 clinic, you are now an umpire. You're an umpire in Baseball Alberta. You're eligible to work Baseball Alberta games. What does that look like from an administrative side is, again, the instructors will confirm with Chris Kushnerick out of the Baseball Alberta office. He's the liaison with the umpire committee in the actual office. He works out of the Baseball Alberta office in Edmonton. And they'll confirm that, yep, this is who was in attendance, or, oh, this person didn't show up, or, whatever it might be. And then the Baseball Alberta office will load the umpires information from the registration that they did into arbitersports.com, which is our assigning software. You'll then receive a notification, usually by email, to the email address that you use to register for the clinic, with instructions on how to log in, how to update your availability, all that stuff for that, so that you could potentially be assigned games. And again, we will have a point of the plate, just to make note of that there's going to be another session on April 11th. So in a couple weeks time, about how to use the Arbiter Sports system, the ins and outs of that. Again, we want our umpires working ball games. If you're a ball player or coach or something like that, you have to juggle your schedules with other commitments. The nice part about the Arbiter system is that you go in and you block off your dates, your times when you're not available, and pretty much the assigners cannot assign you games unless they override that, which they would only do that obviously if they've had communication with you. So having been a Baseball Alberta assigner out of the Calgary area a few years ago, again, it names pop up, the ones that are eligible or available, and then from there we again start getting games assigned. So that's sort of the after the clinic part. And now we come down to just kind of the end part. There's some common questions that people have. I guess one question real quickly that I've heard before is, can I do the level 1 and the level 2 clinic on the same weekend or on the same year, like ball season? Unfortunately, no. Again, we want you to have that experience on the diamond working games to qualify or to certify that season. So you can't just do a Saturday level 1 clinic and a Sunday level 2 clinic. And then, I'm already level 2 after one weekend without having actually been on the diamond. So we want you on the diamond. We want you doing games. Another little note that I forgot to put in here that just came to my mind is that if you are an official, like a Softball Canada umpire, or some of that, there's a nice little thing that we have in Alberta that allows you to come in to the umpiring program at a higher level. So hypothetically, you're a level 3 softball umpire for Alberta softball, or you just moved in from out of province and you're a softball umpire from a different province at a level 3, you can come into baseball as a level 2 umpire. Or you're a level 4 umpire in Softball Canada, you can come into baseball as level 3. Personally, that's how I started. I was a level 4 softball umpire when I started umpiring baseball, about 18 years ago, I guess now, 17 years ago. And I started out as a level 3 umpire. So again, that is one nice little thing, because you do have some experience from an umpiring standpoint. It's just obviously different rule book, different game that you need to be aware of. So that's a nice little thing for those that, if you know people in your area or friends that do umpire the other sport, softball, fast pitch type thing, you can come in, or they can start a little bit higher up. Any other questions pop in here, Jeff? Sorry, that's about the end of my presentation part.
Yeah, no, that is an awesome breakdown, Chris. I do know that we received one question from Bella, who asked, hey, where do I find out where the clinics are located, or how do I sign up for those clinics? So with that, what I will do here quickly is I will share my screen. And with that, as everyone should be able to see on the screen right now, is the Baseball Alberta website. So with the Baseball Alberta website, from the homepage, if you go to the Umpires tab and click NUCP Clinics, it will bring you to a list of all of the clinics that are happening and have happened in the province of Alberta for the 2023 season. Not just for level 1 and 2, but also for level 3 and level 4, which is called our super clinic. As Chris explained earlier, it breaks down some of the common questions we've talked about this evening, as well as some of the details with respect to clinics. With that, there is a list of well over 40 clinics between level 1 and level 2 that are taking place in all areas of the province, as far south as Lethbridge to as far north as Fort McMurray and Grand Prairie. With that, it shows the various dates and times that those clinics are going on. In order to register for a clinic, all you have to do is just go to the click here to register button. It's going to bring you to the Baseball Alberta Team Snap, which will have you either sign up for an account, or if you're a player or a coach that has used Team Snap before, you can utilize Team Snap. So I'll just log quickly into mine, and it'll bring you into a thing. So for example, I just started one where I went to register on March 6th, but I'm going to go with a new sign up where I create a new participant. So let's say we were signing Chris up for a clinic. We're going to pretend Chris's birth date is May 4th of, let's say, 1960. And we'll just create Chris a quick account, Chris at home.com, and we'll just put some random address information in there for Chris. It's going to ask you some other details to fill in. And we're just going to select some random items here. Once that's all done, save and continue. It's going to bring you up to the various clinics that are available throughout the province. As you can see, some of these clinics are already sold out with some limited spots remaining in other areas, but constantly check this website to see if there's other availabilities in place. Once you're done selecting your clinic, so let's say we wanted to attend the clinic in Sylvan Lake on April 16th, you'd save and continue, and it would bring you to a page where you pay for the clinic and you become a registrant for that clinic, and will receive all of the various details regarding that clinic moving forward. So the easiest way to do that is going to the Baseball Alberta Umpires page and clicking NUCP Clinics, and that will bring you to all of the clinics in your area. If your area hasn't signed up for a clinic yet, please check in with our Baseball Alberta office with Chris Kushnerick, and hopefully we'd be able to get a clinic in your area if there are the available numbers.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention, Jeff, that it's showed on the website there. Level 1 it's $60 to register. Level 2 is $75, and again that's your registration. You do have to take a clinic every single year for level 1 and 2. So, I took a clinic last year, I don't have to take a clinic this year. Unfortunately, no. Just like us level 4s and 5 umpires, we have to attend a clinic as well. So the requirement is that you attend a clinic in level 1, 2. When you get to level 3, it's a little different, but we're not going to talk too much about level 3 here tonight. But one of the perks of becoming a level 3 is that it's a 3-year module or a 3-year program. And one of the years is a clinic year, which is this year. We're hosting 2 level 3 clinics in the province. And then on the other 2 years, they don't require the clinic from being a mandatory thing. The Baseball Canada doesn't, but we as a province, if we want to, can run level 3 clinics every year if we choose. But this is our level 3 clinic year. So we are running a couple level 3 clinics, one in Edmonton, one in the Calgary area in April. So Yeah, so $60 for level 1, 75 for level 2. Pay structure on that Baseball Alberta website talks about pay structure. Some people are like, well, like, is it worth my money? Well, again, a 13U game by Baseball Alberta is, help me out here, Jeff, again, I think I want to say $50.
Yeah.
Or, right, we got a pay raise a year or two back, so I think it's $50 for a level, or for a 13U game. And I think it ranges from $45 at the lower level to 11U or some of that, and goes up. So, 2 games, you've paid your registration easily, and at the clinic we'll talk a little bit about uniforms and equipment and how you can cut some corners. And some associations provide you with equipment, some don't. Again, depending on the area that you live in and stuff like that. So, is there any other questions that popped in at all?
Yeah, so one of the other questions that has kind of came up is, do we have any plans, Chris, to host any virtual level 1 or level 2 clinics? As for some of our umpires, they might be located in a more remote location, such as Fort McMurray or Grand Prairie or even Medicine Hat, where they might not be able to attend the level 1 and 2 clinic in person. So do we have any plans for a potential virtual clinic?
That is a conversation that we have discussed a little bit. There's nothing set in stone at this point. But I know this weekend, most of the committee are going to be in Central Alberta at our national clinic, our super clinic. And there was some potential discussions going to happen about, do we look at trying to run something or not? That decision will probably be made sometime around the Easter weekend, the final decision on that, if we decide to go that route. And those clinics would occur most likely that end of April, start of May type thing, and there'd probably only be 1 or 2. That was some of the stuff that was bantered around a little bit in our meetings back in late 2022 when we met in person, was that if we were to do that, it'd be like at the end of the season to kind of catch those people that weren't able to attend a clinic, some of those remote areas like you talked about. But for the most part, we've got clinics in all areas. It might require, a small drive, that hour drive or some of that. Like I know we have Strathmore, for example. I know that's a little bit of a jaunt for like Medicine Hat type thing. But there's a clinic in High Prairie, there's a clinic in Grand Prairie, potentially one in Dawson Creek that we're trying to work on getting up and running. So there's, for that northern region, Fort McMurray's running some this weekend. No, not this weekend. Sorry, April 1st weekend. But like I said, there might be an opportunity. We just haven't finalized that yet, if that's the case.
For sure, Chris. One of the common questions that we hear before brand new umpires attend a level 1 or a level 2 clinic is, what are some of the things that they need to bring with them to the clinic? Do they need to make sure they have a full set of equipment, or do they need to bring a laptop? What are some of the minimal items that they need to bring for that umpire clinic?
Yeah, so our umpire committee has tried to reduce the amount of barriers, I guess you could say, from attending the clinics. Again, we want you to attend the clinics. So we came up and developed that, that workbook for the level 1. Again, it's got, lots of stuff in there, lots of information. All you need really is something to write with. And to be honest, most of our instructors probably pack a bunch of extra writing utensils if you happen to forget one. If you want, there's, a note page on the back, to add notes to it. If you, want to bring a little notebook or some of that to do stuff, that's great. Most clinic instructors will reach out to the attendees ahead of time. I know the one I did in Calgary area at the start of March, I reached out a day or so before and said, hey, here's the Google Maps or the address, the location. Here's, if you have a ball glove, bring one. Sometimes there's drills in the gym that require a glove. Or if you have a mask, great. But if you don't have a mask, it's not the end of the world. Those would probably be the extent of it. Like, you don't need to have a full set of equipment yet to attend the clinic. The stuff we're doing for the most part is controlled drills that, there's really very minimal risk of getting injured type thing. So, like I said, you don't necessarily need to do a whole lot of pre-required equipment and stuff of that standpoint. But yeah, so we provide you with, like I said, that little workbook. We give you some photocopied stuff on the 60-foot base paths and stuff of that to again help you. The rule book is now available online. Baseball Canada rule book is online. So there's no like paper rule book that we hand out and stuff of that. And then also the Baseball Alberta handbook, which is a great resource, is available on the Baseball Alberta website, that we really tell our umpires to make sure that they have it bookmarked or some of that, because when you go to do a 13U AA game, you need to know what rules you're using in May compared to June and July when they change. So yeah, that's about it. There's like not much else, a snack, a lunch, water bottle, that type of stuff. Some areas like the clinic I did in Calgary, we were away from any sort of food places. So we ended up actually shortening our lunch down a little bit. Instead of an hour, we did it about a half hour as a group. They made the decision, and because everyone brought lunch, and we got out there a little earlier than 4 o'clock. So that was the nice bonus, I guess, for that group.
No, that's really good to hear, that all you really need to bring is a pen, a lunch, and maybe even a baseball glove if need be. But if you just show up with the basics, you should be able to take part in our clinic, because it's not just all classroom session. We do have umpires up and moving, and those 6 hours actually go by a lot quicker than a typical 6-hour day sitting in a desk on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, and we definitely we do a small little quiz at the end of the workbook as a class. So we use the assessment piece, the quiz, as like a chance to learn rather than what do you remember from all day. So everyone's going to pass. If you attend with a great attitude, willingness to listen and learn and pay attention. Like if you're sleeping all day in the back of the class because you didn't sleep the night before, well, then that's a conversation maybe that you and the instructor will have about whether you need to attend a different clinic. But like I said, it's not like you have to pass a test and get so much right. Again, we work on it, kind of ask it as a group. We work through the quiz together as a group and discuss what people are unsure of, just to further reinforce our learning from the day, because it's a lot of information, and we try not to overload you in that level 1 clinic, especially because we just want to give you the basics to get you out there and be able to survive initially. And then hopefully in your local associations, there's like a mentoree or a mentor type thing, that someone who's been an umpire before that will help you, guide you when you get games under your belt, and be there as a resource. One thing I would like to add actually real quick is in the workbook, there's a spot to put your clinician's name, phone number, like contact information. So I know we try to tell our instructors that, when you do a clinic, you kind of become that resource for those attendees. So, there was 34 attendees at the level 1 clinic that I did in Calgary area in start of March. And, again, they have mine and the other instructors' contact information, so that if they have a question, they can reach out and ask questions, type thing. So we become a resource for them to access throughout the season as well.
Yeah, no, that is awesome, Chris. So just a couple of last questions that have came through. And if anyone else has any other questions, please feel free to put them into the chat. The first one is, and you kind of talked about it a little bit, Chris, there in your last answer, is, does an attendee need any sort of baseball experience? Do they have to have played baseball before or coached baseball? And kind of tied to that experience side is, what are some of the potential mentorship avenues that an umpire has?
Yeah, so a couple great questions there. Obviously, if you have baseball experience, player, coach, etc., that's a benefit for you. Some of the national program umpires that we have, either in Alberta or in, I came from British Columbia about a decade ago. Some of my colleagues that got me into umpiring had zero playing experience. So from baseball standpoint, so you can still be an umpire, you can still achieve high levels of like national championships and stuff like that. Obviously, if you've got experience as a player, coach, etc., that's going to benefit you, because you'll understand the mental side of the game, what might be happening. Oh, this is a bunt situation, or this is what this player is trying to achieve, right? Because you got some of that playing background. in you. So that will help you when it comes to making judgments on calls and stuff like that, because you understand the game per se a little bit better. So definitely that's a bonus, but it's not mandatory. And then the second part of your question was about what are some mentorship or mentor opportunities out there. It varies around the province. So mentorship is something that, again, we as a Baseball Alberta Umpires Committee recognize is important. And depending on where you live in the province, access to mentors are better or easier, I guess you could say, not better, but easier to access. If you're in a bit of a larger center that has higher level umpires that can provide you with some feedback and come out and watch your games, maybe work a game with you. Like we do have situations where umpires, national level umpires, like level 4 or 5 umpires, level 3 umpires will jump on and they'll jump on the diamond with, a young first-year umpire and, maybe work the bases while they're on the plate and then give them feedback between innings and talk to them at the end of the game and be there to support them like a little security blanket almost. That's something that, again, is provided or is an opportunity. And other times it might be where, an umpire is sitting off the diamond. A person that's there as a mentor is sitting off the diamond to two younger or inexperienced officials that are working on the diamond, and they'll maybe call over between innings or at the end of the game. They'll have a chat with them. We have some great individuals throughout this province that have lots of experience and have decided that they're going to step away from being active on the diamond, but they still want to be involved, and they get out and they watch a ton of games during tournaments and weekends and in their local areas. Sometimes we do even look at opportunities to maybe send someone. A lot of our higher level umpires work like the Western Canada Baseball League or work around the province. And it's like, oh, I got a game in Medicine Hat on a Saturday night. Well, I'll go to Medicine Hat a few hours earlier and I'll try and find a baseball game to watch at a local diamond or, in Okotoks or wherever, Edmonton, Sylvan Lake, etc. Right? There's lots of areas excuse me, that we can provide. Fort McMurray have the Giants for the Western Canada Baseball League, and the league will send umpires up to Fort McMurray, and they're there. So during the daytime, they're sometimes out. Those umpires that work the games at night at Shell Stadium there in Fort McMurray are working U18, U15 games during the daytime, helping out on the local diamonds with games there, filling some holes and also working with some of the umpires. So like I said, we try to find opportunities. It might be just your local umpire in chief who took the clinic and has never umpired before, but they're there to help support the 12-year-olds that are out there doing the U9 games or U11 games. So I guess to answer your question, it just depends on where you're in the province, what that might look like.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear that mentorship is a focus of our program moving forward. The last question that we have, unless any more come through the chat, is Chris, what is your favorite part about being an instructor and being an umpire?
I think to answer the umpire thing, I just love being a part of the game. Again, it's an opportunity to continue being involved in a sport that, I quit playing when I was a teenager. And my umpiring has taken me way further than my playing would have definitely taken me. So, I think, it's a great thing to get out on a, summer afternoon or summer evening and work some games and, again, hear the sounds of the game, the cracks of the bat or the, the cheering, the, celebrations that are going on. And your front row seat to it all by being on the diamond. From a instructor's thing, it's similar to that. As someone who I've been fortunate enough to, attend some pretty high level events and umpire some high level games, the opportunity to give back to those new umpires and try to spark the flame of their umpiring career and pass on some of the information and share the passion that our instructors all have. Again, our instructors are giving up their weekends to travel around the province to put on these clinics to other umpires. when they could be on the golf course or doing other stuff, relaxing at home. So I think all instructors are sort of the same way, is they want to pass on the enjoyment of being a part of this big family that ultimately is coast to coast. But for our new umpires, it will be mainly in your local area or in your province. But for a lot of us that have gotten to some higher levels, we have friends across the country that we get to see occasionally and be a part of. And it is a giant family ultimately that we call umpires. So being able to pass on that passion and that excitement, and seeing some of our inexperienced umpires progress and hopefully take our spots down the road in some of these higher level leagues, is ultimately find our replacement, right? So I think that's again the benefit as an instructor, is you get to help promote and mold some of those younger or inexperienced officials. Not even younger, but they could be inexperienced officials.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's always giving back to the program and seeing those new umpires succeed and move up the levels from that first 11U game that they might work to being the next umpires that umpire the Edmonton Riverhawks or the Okotoks Dogs, and seeing them at those high levels. And I know officiating in all sports has provided opportunities for both you and I to head to places and spots where we could have only dreamed of. So with that, we don't see any other questions in the chat. We have put in a link in the chat just to let everyone know of, if you want to sign up for a clinic, go to the Baseball Alberta website, so baseballalberta.com. The list of available clinics and available spots is changing on a daily basis. So watch that as much as you can. And if a clinic is in your area and you are interested, please do sign up. We would love to have you come to one of our umpire clinics this year. If you do have any questions about any of our Baseball Alberta clinics, please feel free to contact one of us. Our contact information is located under the Umpire tab, as well as our provincial supervisor of umpires. With that, we hope to see all of you out at Umpire Clinic this year and out on the diamond. And we also are hopeful to see folks, whether you're watching live right now or on YouTube, at our next Point of the Plate session, which will be on Monday, March 27th, which will be a roundtable discussion, a panel discussion with some of our newest umpires into the Baseball Canada National program. So we'll have a bit of a session on the young guns coming into the session. And Chris does put a great point. Yes, encourage your friends to sign up for our clinics. And other than that, have a great night, and thank you for joining us this evening. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.